Most people will spend their entire lives asking one silent question. Am I good enough? They ask it before speaking in a meeting, before approaching someone they admire, before chasing a dream that scares them. And every time they wait for someone else to answer that question, they lose a little more of themselves. Here's the truth that no one likes to admit. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build every time you choose action over fear. The Sigma mindset begins the moment you stop asking for permission to become the person you already know you can be. If you're waiting for the perfect moment to feel confident, it will never come. Because confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after action. This is one of the biggest lies society teaches. People think successful men wake up fearless. They don't. They simply refuse to let fear make their decisions. That's the difference. Think about the people you respect the most. Athletes, entrepreneurs, military leaders. None of them avoided fear. They learned to move while fear was still present. That is real confidence. Not the absence of fear, but the ability to keep moving despite it. A Sigma understands something most people never will. Your life changes the moment your opinion of yourself becomes more important than the opinion of strangers. The world will always judge you. If you stay quiet, they'll call you weak. If you speak up, they'll call you arrogant. If you succeed, they'll say you got lucky. If you fail, they'll say they expected it. So why build your life around voices that are impossible to satisfy? Real confidence begins when you stop performing for the crowd and start living by your own standards. Because in the end, the only person who has to live with your decisions is you. Stop living for approval. Most people never realize they're trapped. Not by money, not by failure, but by the constant need for approval. From childhood, we're taught to seek validation. Good grades earn praise. Good behavior earns acceptance. Following the crowd earns safety. Little by little, your brain begins to believe one dangerous lie. My value depends on what other people think of me. That's the moment confidence begins to disappear. A Sigma mindset rejects this belief completely. Because the truth is simple. The same people who criticize you today may admire you tomorrow. Human opinions are temporary. Your character is permanent. History proves this again and again. Many of the world's greatest innovators, leaders, and creators were doubted long before they were respected. They weren't confident because everyone believed in them. They became confident because they kept working when nobody did. That's a lesson most people never learn. Confidence is built in private, long before it's recognized in public. Every workout no one sees, every early morning, every difficult decision, every promise you keep to yourself, these moments quietly shape your identity. Your brain starts collecting evidence. Evidence that says, I finish what I start. And once your mind believes that, confidence stops being an emotion. It becomes part of who you are. This is why Sigma individuals don't waste energy trying to impress everyone. They understand something powerful. Attention is temporary. Respect is earned. And self-respect is built when your actions match your values, even when nobody is watching. The strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest. More often, they're simply the one who no longer needs permission to believe in themselves. Fear is not the enemy. Most people spend their lives trying to eliminate fear. A Sigma learned something different. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is information. It tells you that you're standing at the edge of growth. The problem isn't fear. The problem is allowing fear to become your leader. Think about every major decision you've ever avoided. Starting a business. Applying for a better job. Walking away from a toxic relationship. Speaking your mind. The fear always sounded convincing. What if I fail? What if people laugh? What if I'm not good enough? But here's the question almost nobody asks. What if your fear is lying to you? The human brain is designed to protect you, not to make you successful. Thousands of years ago, avoiding danger kept our ancestors alive. Today, your brain often reacts to social rejection the same way it once reacted to physical danger. That's why speaking in public or taking a bold step can feel terrifying, even when your life isn't actually at risk. A Sigma understands this psychological trap. They don't believe every thought that enters their mind. Instead, they ask, is this fear protecting me or limiting me? That single question changes everything. Because most of the limits in life are invisible. They're built from assumptions, not reality. Every time you act despite fear, you send your brain a new message. I survived. Then your confidence grows. Not because fear disappeared, but because you proved you were stronger than it. Remember this. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing your future over your comfort. And every small act of courage becomes another brick in the foundation of unshakable confidence. That's how Sigma individuals are built. Not in comfort, but in the quiet moments when they refuse to let fear decide who they become. Stop explaining yourself. One of the strongest signs of insecurity is the constant need to explain yourself. You explain your decisions. You explain your dreams. You explain why you're changing. You even explain why you're saying no. But here's the uncomfortable truth. People who are determined to misunderstand you will never be convinced by your explanations. And people who genuinely respect you won't require one. A Sigma understands this early. Silence is often more powerful than endless justification. That doesn't mean becoming cold or arrogant. It means recognizing that your energy is limited. Every minute spent defending your choices to people who have already judged you is a minute stolen from building the life you actually want. Look at successful people in any field. At first, they're criticized. They're called unrealistic, obsessed, different, sometimes even foolish. But when their results begin to speak, the criticism becomes curiosity, then admiration. Nothing changed except one thing. They refuse to quit because of other people's opinions. Here's a reality most people ignore. You don't owe the world an explanation for every decision you make. You owe yourself honesty. If your choices align with your values, keep walking. Not everyone needs to understand your journey. Another powerful habit of confident people is this. They become comfortable with being misunderstood, because they know clarity doesn't always create acceptance. Some people don't reject you because you're wrong. They reject you because your growth reminds them of the risks they never took. Don't let their fear become your future. Stay focused. Stay disciplined. Let your actions carry the message your words never could. Remember, noise attracts attention. Consistency earns respect. And in the long run, quiet discipline will always outlast loud opinions. The strongest confidence isn't announced. It's revealed through years of calm, consistent action. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Most people think confidence comes from winning. But real confidence is built long before success ever arrives. It begins with a simple habit: keeping your word to yourself. Think about it. If a friend repeatedly broke every promise they made to you, would you trust them? Probably not. Yet many people do exactly that to themselves every day. I'll wake up early tomorrow. Then they hit the snooze button. I'll start working out on Monday. Monday comes, and nothing happens. I'll stop wasting time online. Minutes turn into hours. Each broken promise seems small, but your brain is paying attention. Every time you fail to follow through, it quietly records a message. My words don't matter. Over time, that belief destroys confidence from the inside. A Sigma understands that self-respect is earned, not imagined. It's earned by doing what you said you would do, especially when no one is watching. You don't need dramatic changes. You need consistency. Read 10 pages instead of waiting to read 100. Exercise for 20 minutes instead of planning the perfect routine. Finish one important task before chasing 10 new ideas. Small victories may not impress the world, but they reshape the way you see yourself. And that changes everything. Research in psychology has consistently shown that repeated follow-through strengthens a person's belief in their own ability to succeed. Your confidence grows because your actions provide proof. Not hope. Proof. This is why disciplined people often appear calm under pressure. They're not confident because life is easy. They're confident because they've trained themselves to respond instead of making excuses. Every promise you keep becomes another piece of evidence that says, I can depend on myself. And once you truly believe that, no criticism, no setback, and no temporary failure can easily shake your confidence. Because your greatest source of strength no longer comes from the outside. It comes from the promises you've already kept. There is one voice you'll hear more than anyone else's for the rest of your life. Your own. The question is that voice building you or destroying you? Most people don't realize how often they criticize themselves. I'm not smart enough. I'm always behind. I'll probably fail anyway. At first, these seem like harmless thoughts. But your brain doesn't always know the difference between a repeated thought and a proven fact. The more you repeat a belief, the more familiar it becomes. And the more familiar it becomes, the more real it feels. A Sigma refuses to become a prisoner of negative self-talk. That doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing honesty over self-destruction. Instead of saying, I'll never succeed, They ask, "What skill do I need to improve?" Instead of, "I'm a failure." They think, "That attempt failed, but I can learn from it." This shift may sound small, but it changes everything. Confident people don't have fewer problems. They simply have healthier conversations with themselves. When life becomes difficult, they don't waste energy attacking their own identity. They focus on solving the problem in front of them. Because your identity should never be based on your worst day. Everyone loses. Everyone gets rejected. Everyone makes mistakes. Even the people you admire have faced moments of doubt. The difference is that they refuse to let one bad chapter become the story of their entire life. A Sigma understands that the mind is like a garden. Whatever you water will grow. Feed it fear, comparison, and excuses, and those will multiply. Feed it discipline, patience, and truth, and confidence will slowly take root. Guard your inner voice carefully, because long before the world believes in you, you must learn to stop speaking against yourself. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone will understand your journey. The moment you begin changing your habits, your mindset, or your goals, some people will become uncomfortable. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your growth reminds them of the changes they're avoiding. A Sigma doesn't expect universal approval. They understand that respect and popularity are not the same thing. Many people chase acceptance. They change their opinions to fit the room. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny. They stay silent when they know something is wrong. Little by little, they trade their authenticity for temporary comfort. But every compromise comes with a cost. The more you pretend to be someone else, the harder it becomes to remember who you really are. That's why true confidence requires the courage to stand alone. Standing alone doesn't mean rejecting people. It means refusing to betray your values just to avoid criticism. History is filled with individuals who were misunderstood before they were respected. They weren't always accepted in the beginning. They simply stayed committed to what they believed was right. That's the mindset of a Sigma. They don't need everyone to agree with them. They only need to know they're acting with integrity. Integrity is one of the strongest foundations of confidence. When your actions match your principles, you sleep better, you think more clearly, and you stop wasting energy trying to maintain different versions of yourself for different people. There's freedom in being genuine. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay. Your goal isn't to be admired by everyone. Your goal is to become someone you can admire when you look in the mirror. Because at the end of every day, the opinion that matters most is the one waiting for you in that reflection. And when you've lived according to your values, that reflection becomes your greatest source of strength. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort. A Sigma chases growth. And growth has one rule. It never lives inside your comfort zone. Think about the moments that changed your life. Your first interview. Your first public speech. The first time you took a risk. None of those moments felt comfortable. Your hands probably shook. Your heart raced. your mind filled with doubt. Yet those experiences taught you more than years of playing it safe. That's because confidence isn't created by comfort. It's created by exposure. Every time you willingly face something difficult, your brain learns an important lesson. This challenge didn't break me. That lesson becomes the foundation of resilience. Psychologists often refer to this as gradual exposure. The more often you face manageable challenges, the less power they have over you. This doesn't mean taking reckless risks. It means choosing small acts of courage every single day. Speak when you'd rather stay silent. Apply for the opportunity even if rejection is possible. Start the project before you feel completely ready. Growth doesn't wait for certainty. It rewards commitment. A Sigma understands another powerful truth. Comfort is addictive. The more you avoid discomfort, the smaller your world becomes. Soon, you begin avoiding difficult conversations, new experiences, meaningful relationships, big opportunities. Not because you can't handle them, but because you've trained yourself to escape discomfort. That's why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline shows up anyway. Every difficult choice you make today expands what feels possible tomorrow. Over time, what once terrified you becomes routine. What once seemed impossible becomes ordinary. That's how confidence grows, not in one dramatic moment, but through hundreds of quiet victories that no one else notices. Remember this. Your comfort zone may keep you safe, but it will never reveal your true potential. The strongest version of yourself is waiting on the other side of temporary discomfort. The only question is, are you willing to meet that person? One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they'll take action when they finally feel ready. I'll start when I have more confidence. I'll begin when the timing is perfect. I'll wait until I know everything. But that day almost never comes. Perfection is a moving target. The more you wait, the more excuses your mind creates. A Sigma understands a truth that separates achievers from dreamers. Action creates clarity. Waiting creates doubt. Think about learning to drive. You don't become confident by reading about driving for years. You become confident by getting behind the wheel. The same is true in every area of life. Confidence grows through experience, not imagination. Many people spend months planning, researching, watching videos, looking for the perfect strategy. Meanwhile, someone with less knowledge, but more courage, starts today. And 6 months later, that person has real experience while everyone else is still preparing. That's the hidden cost of hesitation. Every day you delay, someone else is building the future you keep imagining. A Sigma doesn't ignore preparation. Preparation matters. But they know there's a point where planning becomes procrastination in disguise. The goal isn't to eliminate every mistake. The goal is to learn faster than your fear can stop you. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process that leads to it. Every successful person has made decisions they later regretted. They faced rejection. They've embarrassed themselves. They've started over. What made them different wasn't perfect judgment. It was their willingness to keep moving. Remember this. You'll never feel 100% ready. And you don't need to. The people who change their lives aren't the ones with the least fear. They're the ones who stop waiting for certainty and choose to act anyway. Because every meaningful journey begins the same way. Not with perfect confidence, but with one imperfect step forward. Part 10. Control your emotions before they control you. One of the greatest misconceptions about confidence is believing confident people never feel emotional. The truth is exactly the opposite. They feel disappointment. They feel anger. They feel anxiety. They feel rejection. The difference is, they don't let those emotions make their decisions. Most people react. A sigma responds. There's a powerful difference between the two. Imagine someone insults you. Your first reaction might be to argue, defend yourself, or prove them wrong. That's emotion taking control. But confidence gives you another option. To pause. To think. To decide whether the situation deserves your energy. Because not every battle deserves your attention. Some people aren't looking for truth. They're looking for a reaction. And the moment they control your emotions, they control you. A sigma refuses to hand over that power. They understand that emotional discipline is a form of strength, not weakness. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can shout. Anyone can react without thinking. But it takes real confidence to remain calm when everyone else is losing control. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means understanding them. Ask yourself, why did that comment upset me? What am I really afraid of? Is this problem worth my peace of mind? Questions like these create awareness. And awareness creates freedom. The calmer your mind becomes, the clearer your decisions become. That's why high performers in business, sports, and leadership train emotional control just as seriously as technical skills. Because under pressure, you don't rise to your expectations. You fall to the level of your habits. Make calm your habit. Make patience your habit. Make thoughtful action your habit. When your emotions stop controlling your choices, your confidence becomes steady instead of temporary. And that's the kind of confidence no opinion, setback, or criticism can easily shake. Contin. One of the strongest signs of confidence is knowing when to walk away. Most people think strength means fighting every battle, winning every argument, having the last word. But a sigma understands something that experience eventually teaches everyone. Not every fight deserves your attention. Some battles only exist to drain your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. Think about the people who constantly create drama. They thrive on conflict. They want reactions. Because every emotional response makes them feel powerful. The moment you refuse to participate, you take that power away. Walking away is not surrender. It's self-respect. It means understanding that your future is too valuable to be distracted by people who contribute nothing to it. This principle applies to more than arguments. Sometimes you must walk away from toxic friendships, relationships built on manipulation, workplaces that destroy your confidence, habits that quietly steal your potential. At first, leaving feels painful, because the familiar, even when unhealthy, often feels safer than the unknown. But growth demands difficult decisions. Every door you close creates space for a better one to open. A Sigma doesn't stay where they're constantly disrespected just because they're afraid of being alone. They know loneliness is temporary. Living without self-respect can last a lifetime. Ask yourself this question: does this person, place, or habit help me become the man I want to be? If the answer is no, you already know what needs to happen. The hardest part isn't making the decision. It's accepting that protecting your peace may disappoint people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. And that's okay. Because confidence isn't about making everyone happy. It's about making choices you can respect years from now. Sometimes the most powerful words you'll ever say are not spoken in anger. They're spoken quietly. I'm done. And then you simply keep walking. There is a difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance says, I'm better than everyone else. Confidence says, I don't need to be better than anyone. I just need to be true to myself. That's why self-respect is the foundation of lasting confidence. Without it, confidence becomes an act, a performance, something you put on for other people. But self-respect doesn't need an audience. It exists in the choices you make when no one is watching. It's choosing honesty when lying would be easier. It's saying no when everyone expects you to say yes. It's keeping your standards, even when lowering them would make life more convenient. A Sigma doesn't chase attention. They protect their values. Because once you trade your principles for approval, you begin losing pieces of yourself. And the frightening part is, it doesn't happen all at once. It happens one compromise at a time. One excuse. One lie. One decision that goes against your conscience. Eventually, you look in the mirror and wonder why you no longer recognize the person staring back. That's why confident people set boundaries. Not to push others away, but to protect what's important. They know that every yes to the wrong thing is a no to something that truly matters. Your time, your health, your peace, your future. These are too valuable to give away carelessly. The world will constantly test your standards. Some people will pressure you to fit in. Others will encourage you to settle for less than you're capable of. A Sigma smiles, listens, and quietly stays true to their path. Because real confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply refuses to betray itself. The strongest person isn't the one who wins every argument. It's the one who can look in the mirror every morning and say, I stayed loyal to my values. And that kind of self-respect creates a confidence that no criticism, trend, or temporary setback can ever take away. Imagine waking up tomorrow, and no one could like your photos. No one could praise your work. No one could tell you that you're doing a good job. Would you still keep going? For many people, the answer is no. Because they've unknowingly built their identity around external validation. Every compliment becomes fuel. Every criticism becomes poison. And their confidence rises and falls depending on someone else's opinion. A Sigma chooses a different path. They build a life that doesn't depend on applause. Because applause is temporary. Purpose is permanent. The strongest people don't wake up asking, "Who will notice me today?" They ask, "Who am I becoming today?" That's a completely different mindset. When your goal shifts from being admired to becoming better, everything changes. You stop competing for attention. You start competing with your potential. You no longer measure your worth by numbers, followers, likes, views, status, or expensive possessions. Instead, you measure yourself by discipline, integrity, growth, and the promises you've kept to yourself. This is why many highly successful people live surprisingly quiet lives. They don't feel the need to constantly prove they're successful. Because genuine confidence doesn't seek validation. It creates value. There's an important psychological truth here. The more your happiness depends on things outside your control, the more anxious your life becomes. Other people's opinions, the economy, social media, trends. None of these are fully under your control. But your character is. Your habits are. Your attitude is. Your daily choices are. A Sigma invests their energy where it produces real results, not where it earns temporary attention. At the end of your life, people won't remember how often you impress strangers. They'll remember the impact you made. More importantly, you'll remember whether you stayed true to yourself. Because the deepest confidence isn't built when the world finally applauds you. It's built in silence. When you know you're becoming the person you promised yourself you would become. Most people believe confidence comes after winning. But if that were true, no successful person would ever struggle with self-doubt. The reality is different. Real confidence is built by surviving failure. Every setback teaches you something success never can. It teaches resilience, patience, humility, and most importantly, it teaches you that failure is not the end. It's feedback. A Sigma doesn't see failure as an identity. They see it as information. If a business fails, they study the mistake. If they lose an opportunity, they improve their skills. If they hear no, they prepare for the next yes. Because they understand one powerful truth. Failure only becomes permanent when you stop trying. Look at history. The people we admire today weren't protected from failure. They faced rejection, financial loss, public criticism, embarrassing mistakes. Some even failed repeatedly before achieving anything meaningful. What separated them wasn't extraordinary talent. It was their refusal to let temporary defeat become a permanent mindset. This is where many people give up. Not because they're incapable, but because they interpret one bad outcome as proof they aren't good enough. That's a dangerous lie. One mistake does not define your future. One rejection does not define your worth. One difficult season does not define your life. A Sigma knows that progress is rarely a straight line. Some days you'll move forward. Some days you'll feel stuck. And some days you'll question everything. Keep moving anyway. Because confidence isn't created by a perfect record. It's created by getting back up every single time life knocks you down. Years from now, you won't be proud of the times everything was easy. You'll be proud of the moments you refuse to quit. Those are the moments that shape character. Those are the moments that build quiet strength. And quiet strength is the rarest form of confidence in today's world. At the end of the day, confidence isn't about convincing the world that you're capable. It's about proving it to yourself. The strongest people don't wake up every morning feeling unstoppable. They wake up with the same doubts everyone else has. The difference is, they've built a history of keeping their commitments. And that history becomes trust. Think about the people you trust most. You trust them because they're consistent. They do what they say they'll do. Now ask yourself a harder question. Can you say the same about yourself? When you constantly delay your goals, break your routines, or abandon your plans the moment life becomes difficult, you slowly teach your mind that you're unreliable. And if you can't rely on yourself, confidence will always feel temporary. A Sigma understands that every small commitment matters. Making your bed, finishing your workout, reading instead of scrolling, choosing discipline over comfort. These actions may seem ordinary, but together they shape your identity. Character isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in ordinary moments repeated over time. Every time you honor your word, you strengthen your relationship with yourself. And that relationship affects everything. Your career, your health, your relationships, your future. Because when challenges appear, and they always do, you won't need empty motivation. You'll have evidence. Evidence that you've handled difficult days before. Evidence that you've stayed disciplined when it wasn't easy. Evidence that you don't quit simply because things become uncomfortable. That's what unshakable confidence looks like. Not loud speeches. Not endless motivation. But quiet consistency. Remember this. The person who changes your life isn't someone you'll meet one day. It's the version of yourself you become through your daily choices. So stop waiting to become confident. Start becoming dependable. Because when you can truly depend on yourself, confidence is no longer something you chase. It becomes part of who you are. In today's world, everyone wants to be heard. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants attention, but very few people understand the value of silence. A Sigma does. Silence is not weakness. It's control. People often talk too much because they're trying to prove something. They explain every decision. They defend every action. They announce every future plan. But here's what experience teaches. The more you talk about your goals, the less energy you often have to achieve them. Talking creates the illusion of progress. Action creates real progress. That's why truly confident people don't feel the need to constantly tell others what they're going to do. They simply do it. Then they let the results speak. There's another reason silence is powerful. It helps you observe. When you're always talking, you miss important details. But when you listen, you notice patterns. You understand people's intentions. You recognize opportunities others overlook. This isn't manipulation. It's awareness. And awareness is one of the greatest advantages a person can develop. A Sigma also knows that not every opinion deserves a response. Someone misunderstands you? Let them. Someone underestimates you? Let them. Someone doubts your ability? Keep working. The truth has a way of revealing itself over time. You don't need to win every argument. You need to win your future. One of the strongest forms of confidence is remaining calm when others expect you to react. Because emotional control sends a message that words never can. It says, "I know who I am. I don't need to convince you. Time will reveal the truth." That kind of quiet confidence is rare. And because it's rare, it's powerful. Remember this. Noise attracts attention. Silence builds strength. While the world is busy announcing its intentions, be the person quietly building the life everyone else only talks about. In the end, results will always speak louder than explanations. Take one last look at your life. Not your bank account. Not your followers. Not your job title. Look at the person you've become. Because in the end, that is your greatest achievement. One day, no one will remember every opinion that was thrown at you. They won't remember every insult, every rejection, every setback. But you will remember one thing. Whether you had the courage to become the person you were capable of becoming. Life was never meant to be comfortable every day. It was meant to shape you. Every challenge tested your character. Every failure strengthened your resilience. Every lonely season taught you independence. Every difficult decision revealed who you truly are. A Sigma doesn't chase an easy life. They build a strong mind. Because a strong mind can survive a difficult life. Remember this. Confidence isn't waking up fearless. It's waking up with fear. And moving forward anyway. It's choosing discipline when comfort is calling. It's protecting your peace instead of winning every argument. It's respecting yourself even when no one is watching. Most people spend years trying to change the world. But the greatest victory has always been mastering yourself. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't need to prove your worth to strangers. You don't need permission to become stronger. The only approval that truly matters is your own. So from this day forward, walk with purpose, speak with intention, work in silence, learn from failure, protect your standards, and never allow temporary opinions to define a permanent future. Years from now, when you look back on your life, don't ask, "Did people believe in me?" Ask, "Did I believe in myself enough to keep going when no one else did?" If the answer is yes, then you've already achieved something far greater than success. You've earned self-respect. You've built unshakable confidence. And you've become the kind of person who doesn't wait for the world to change, because you chose to change yourself first. Now close this video. Stand up. Take one step toward the life you've been postponing. And let your actions become the loudest statement you'll ever make. Because legends are not remembered for what they said. They're remembered for what they had the courage to do. The Sigma mindset isn't about being above others. It's about becoming the strongest version of yourself, one decision, one habit, and one day at a time.